they'll know, oh, he's doing something. He's doing something basically. He's playing a game. He's having a chat. He's making music.
Yeah.
But that's like the public facing side of it, where say like in like a private moment where I'm not streaming, I'm doing something like just in like a Discord call, for example.
Yeah.
Where I'm deciding, you know what, I want to work on some music that's a bit more of a personal kind of feeling to it, and I fancy sharing that. But I only really want to share it with my friends at the time, so yeah, I'm just going to do it without having to set all this up and without having to put on this. Not facade would be the wrong term, because it's not.
Still,
a facade would imply, facade would imply that I'm putting on like that personality, but I'm not. All I'm doing is, I guess, I'm not having to fill in. I'm not having to fit myself into my role. Basically, that's the kind of way I see it. There's like this role as a streamer, a VTubing streamer, that I don't have to like put myself into to acknowledge like there's an active chat there. Make sure that that's getting acknowledged. It's like the private calls where we're doing just stream where I'm just streaming it to friends.
Yeah.
If they've got something to say, they'll speak up, and I don't have to be like constantly looking over, checking something. It's just that's
You're
it.
Actually able to enjoy, because this is something that I found when I done streaming. Like I found that I lost a love for the actual game because I was concentrating too much on the entertainment for my chatters, for example.
Yeah, definitely. You get that sense of like you try to focus on being yourself.
Yeah.
But that focus is then sort of, it's not like being derivative, but it's almost deriding the actual whatever it is you're wanting to share. Like, let's say, for example, I put up a game that I know that I could break quite a lot and get quite a lot of laughs out of.
Every game you've ever played.
Yeah, basically. I could load that up and start showing off all these like ways that I've broken a game. But then if I'm doing that and checking the chat and I'm sort of gauging the response of anyone who's viewing, I'm not really taking my own time to enjoy what it is I'm doing. And then when I come to do that off stream, it's sort of that staleness to it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like cooking a meal on stream and eating it, and then you cook the meal off stream, and you think, obviously there'd be the love that you put into the dish when you make it off stream, but now you've kind of hollowed out that experience and made it commercialized, I guess.
Yeah, you're almost like, rather than having to focus on, like I said, the entertainment side of it, you're able to enjoy what you are doing. Whether it be playing a game, whether it be making food, and enjoying the meal you've made. Like, even down to sports, for example. Like some of the sports streamers, when they're playing the sport and they're streaming it, you can tell that they're not enjoying it as much as if they were actually
just playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, with being a VTuber, do you think it's part of essentially trying to say anonymous, going back to not wanting your face as part of it? Is it like you don't want people to know who you are, essentially, or do you want to just people to know you for what you do rather than who you are, if you get my drift?
Yeah, so before I used to view being a VTuber as sort of like a mask to hide my identity. And obviously, in many regards, that is essentially what being a VTuber does for most people. It's this mask that they can put on and feel comfortable talking to like a large group of people that they may never have actually spoken to without that mask.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like I've kind of shed that fear almost. And the reason I continue being a VTuber myself, and the reason I don't want to sort of rip away that mask, is purely because it's that association again. It's that I'm known as like a chaotic person.
Yeah.
But like the cat that you see on streams, that is the chaotic person that you associate with that behavior. If I were to suddenly drop the VTuber, the VTubing, and go to a facecam approach, it would almost be like, well, who's this guy? Who's this, like, this other personality? And I think that's the thing that a lot of people sort of automatically assume, is that when you, as a VTuber, you are putting on this personality, and you are doing all these things to sort of obfuscate who you are. So, of course, if you were to suddenly go, if you were suddenly to be a facecam streamer, you're not the same person. You are this completely different person. And it's almost like that adjustment period, that awkward adjustment period of like moving into a new place, for example.
Yeah.
Sort of, you always expect, oh, I can go to the bathroom. It's just down the hall. No, it's not. It's across the room, and that's it. It's sort of that adjustment period of like, yeah, I'm getting used to you with a face cam now, but like it's still really weird just seeing your face and associating your face with these behaviors and this sort of gameplay.
Yeah, so the association for your actual viewers rather than yourself.
Yeah, for myself, like I say, I don't have that fear that I'm doxing myself every time I turn on my stream or anything, because let's face it, the biggest point of doxing isn't going to be that they can see my face, or that they can see my room, or anything like that. The biggest point of doxing is going to be what I say.
Absolutely.
And as long as I'm watching what I say, I don't have to worry about. Well, yeah, I don't have to worry. That doesn't have to be a worry that I focus on.
Yeah, because you keep it very inside TOS for Twitch, at least.
Yeah.
Like there's been times when me and you have done co-streaming, and yeah, even I'm having to watch what I say. But yeah, that's just because I'm different to the way that I do it to you, because I do it more as I don't really care for my streaming, you know? I do it more for the community of the people that we've built around us, because, for example, me and you are both in the same Discord channels and stuff like that. But going back to something you said earlier about your music, are we going to be hearing more of your music? Have you got any more projects lined up for it? Are we going to be getting a new album at any point?
So, ironically, it's funny you mentioned an album, because when I first started working on music, that was the idea. Like, I want to make an album, but then I quickly realized trying to get into the creative process of making music with that as your goal is horrendous. Never try to set yourself a goal like that right off the bat, because then you're committing yourself to essentially an entire story rather than a chapter at a time.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's the kind of approach most people should be doing for, if they're like I say, getting into music, getting into story writing. Don't approach it from this is a portfolio masterpiece that I want to put together. Approach it from a one at a time.
Yeah.
See where the themes mix, and that's where you sort of link them.
Yeah, because one of the things that I do remember you speaking about that is something from Lewis Capaldi. Now, on one of his albums, he said this on daytime television, and oh my god, it was brilliant. The reaction that he had from everyone, just because of the way he words it, because obviously we all know Lewis Capaldi, he's a bit open with how he said stuff.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you've heard his music, it's very much based on his own things that he's gone through, so breakups mostly and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
And he's there listening through his album, he's like, oh, I need another song. But I can't have another depressing song, because I've already got like 5 on this album. And then, out of nowhere, bless him, his nan dies. on live TV, he turns around and goes, and then my nan died, so I got another song. Well, I don't mean it like that, but but that's the way he managed to be able to bring that extra story into that album.
Yeah. I'm trying to fix the expressions because these are wildly inappropriate expressions that I'm making. Like the teeth. Come on.
Yeah, just baring your teeth at the thought of listening to Lewis Capaldi. He's not that bad. Come on.
I was sitting here looking at the expressions like that. Stop that. That is. What are you doing?
But so obviously you're trying to make a new story with each song, so to say. Are you going to be getting like different genres out of you, or are you going to keep it very experimental? Because I've heard your stuff from the past, because I found you on SoundCloud.
Yeah. So it's very much going to stay that experimental approach. These regarding the actual genres, I'm still actually working on quite a few different soundscapes, essentially. Completely different feelings, completely different sort of vibes, everything. Like, as of late, I've been obsessed with a 3/4 time signature. Okay. And the one thing about the 3/4 time signature that sticks out to me is that you can put together some really nice waltzes.
Okay. So how come do you find that like what you're going through in the time is affecting your music? So like stuff that's happening in your personal life or in your streaming life, or you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah. There's like as of recent, after going through a breakup, I did get to a certain point where I was thinking back on the kind of music that I was making with my partner at the time, and I thought there was a feeling there, but that doesn't necessarily mean the breakup doesn't necessarily mean that I have to lose that feeling. In fact, I can focus on it and actually work on that feeling more to sort of get more of a story through it.
Yeah. So
and
no, you crack on. You carry on.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I did actually kind of throw myself into making more music after the fact, and I'm really happy that I did, because, like, the first couple of days that I was doing it, I realized I was actually expanding out into genres that I wasn't really testing out before. In fact, I'd even started trying to work on custom plugins at that point to try and get a custom feeling, that sort of tailored feeling to the music that I make, rather than it feeling like it's very, yeah. Rather than it feeling like it's all just like bog standard factory made kind of music. Like you pull the tools out the box, you could make exactly what I make. That's kind of what I've been trying to sort of get away from. Because it sucks. It sucks looking back at your music and thinking, anyone could have made that. There's nothing really me about it.
Yeah, you've got to put some of your personality in your music. It's the same with everything that you do in life. If you're not putting your personality into what you're doing, then what's the point in doing it? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
I can thankfully say that, yeah, since I've started working on like actual custom plugins myself and actually tailoring the sounds to how I want, like, I've got a couple of tracks that I've been coming back to. Like that, I'll quickly mention one of the biggest issues that my music has faced over the years is that I start a lot of projects, work on them a little bit, and I'll say to myself, "Oh, I love this sound. I'm loving the sound. This is one that I'm definitely going to be coming back to, literally tomorrow." And then tomorrow comes, I load up the program. I load up FL Studio because that's the software that I use, and I'm like, I'm not feeling that anymore. I'm not feeling wherever I was in like that. I'm not feeling that headspace that was in when I started on this. So I'll work on a new song, and that's the kind of thing that I want to stop doing. Because while it's amazing to be able to explore new feelings in songs doing that, you never get any songs finished.
And what's the point in doing music if you're not going to finish your song?
Exactly.
You're not going to be making that next album, without finishing the songs, mate.
Like I'm looking back at I look back at the music that I've got like in the process, and there's quite a few of them that I've actually I've looked at, listened to again, and thought, that's the feeling I was having. This is where I was going with it, and I've been able to pick them up. And that is one of the positive points to doing that kind of approach that I was doing. But you're essentially rolling the dice every time you do it. Like, you might like it a month from now. You might like hate it the next day, and want to work on something else. Just to find that, like, a month, 2 months later, you're like, why did I stop working on this? So you add a little bit more, but it's always a little bit. It's not like you're extending it another like 40 seconds or a minute. It's just like another pattern that you stuck in. That's it.
Yeah,
and that's one of the processes that I kind of want to like stop. Basically, it's good to work on the songs, but I kind of wish that I'd stopped doing just little bits.
Yeah, because it reminds me of something that I once heard about. Oh, he's the rapper, Lil Wayne. He's got a library of unreleased music. Not that he doesn't feel like the music is good enough, but because it's either half done, or he just doesn't feel like it's the right time to release that music.
Yeah.
So with your music, from what you're saying, it sounds like you put a lot of your personal emotions into it. So is this something that you use as essentially a form of therapy for yourself to help you process through the emotions that you're going through at the time?
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely something that I use to sort of help myself process stuff that I'm just going through, or even just to sort of express how I'm feeling, even. Because I have noticed a lot of the time that I'm writing music, it's like I'm dead tired, but there's a feeling that I want to just get out there.
Yeah, it's something that you feel like you almost have to do because it's something that the world needs to hear.
Yeah.
So how come you don't promote your music more then, man? This is what else we've gone over before in our personal talks, because like
it genuinely is. And to actually bring up that part of the personal talks that you're mentioning there, it's that same old. I hate being a bragger. I hate being this person who boasts, and I never want to I never want to come off like I'm full of myself, because last thing I want to do is push people away because they think like, who is this guy? Why does he think he's all that when he's really not?
True.
I want people to see the genuine me, basically.
But that's what your music is doing for you. It's you're portraying your emotions, which you're going through, your personality, everything that is you're putting into your music, into your streaming, into this and that.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the perspectives that I'm constantly brought up to whenever I'm thinking about, I should push that music. One of the first things I think to myself is, why would I be pushing that if the entire reason I make it is as almost like a journal for how I'm feeling? It's sort of like again, it's that commercialization of stuff, that feeling of, well, am I almost like dulling the blade of the sword that is me if I were to push out how I'm feeling, push out what I'm making is sort of that genuineness almost. That's what it is. It's that sense of like genuine passion, that genuine me. And I feel like if I were to sort of just push it out there, like push it into people's faces, it's sort of like detracting from that genuine sense that it's like it is me. It's the real me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Is it more that, like, if I'll give you a hypothetical. Let's say you put the music out there, it becomes very successful, but then you've almost got like a pressure to be putting more out, and it goes from being what you've been writing now, which is your very raw emotions, your personality, into what could essentially be described as the brain rot slop that we get on Facebook.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's that it's almost like I view marketing myself as being this wick, and almost like imagine you're building up a candle, or imagine you're essentially working on this rope, and you're trying to make this rope the longest thing possible. That rope represents everything you are. To me, marketing out my music, pushing it out there, getting people's attention on it, doing that from my perspective, feels like it's almost like I've got to burn the wick almost. I've got to burn a bit of the rope, burn away enough of it so that people see the smoke, basically.
But then wouldn't be changing your music to do such.
Yeah, that's the issue. That sense of progress, that sense of pressure, like you mentioned, it's almost like I don't want to push it out there, because if I do, then I'd be putting myself into a position where I'm opening myself up to that burnout, and I don't want to ever get to the point where I feel like I'm making music because it's what people want. I always want to make sure that I'm making music because it's what I want to do, how I feel.
Absolutely, and that's something that I do try to live my life by, and I try to get other people to live their lives by. You got to have three, essentially, hobbies. One hobby that will keep you fit, one hobby that will keep you creative, and one hobby that will earn you money.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live, and because at the end of the day, if you can do all three of that and you can view it all as a hobby, each bit, then how can you say you're ever truly sad?
Exactly.
Day-to-day life would be essentially perfect for yourself. Now, it might not be perfect for other people. For example, I know that my hobbies, you're not going to enjoy some of them.
Oh yeah.
I could happily imagine you going into a strongman competition. And then find out that you're freakishly strong and winning that because you're great at everything. But
I think the only thing that I've really found out about my strength is that, well, it's kind of intertwined with the anger thing, where I'm definitely one of those people that when I'm genuinely angry, my strength gets freakish. Like, there's no way that I should be able to do the stuff that I do when I'm genuinely angry. But it's like, what's going on? You're not that same person.
That's very common amongst a lot of people, because even like one of the best strongmen in the world, Brian Shaw, he even does it himself. He believes in training angry. Another one, Evan Singleton, before he done his last Atlas Stone run, the pictures are amazing, because he's got a thing about hitting things to get himself riled up so that he's got the anger ready.
Yeah.
He headbutted a wall, I believe it was, and there's blood pouring out of his skull.
Oh, I think I actually know the pictures you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's just doing an Atlas Stone run like it's nothing.
Yeah, I know the pictures you're referring to. Yeah, that is a crazy image.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But it is amazing how our emotions can affect our day to day.
Oh
Like,
yeah. You
not
get that
just
adrenaline
with that
going.
side of it, but for example, if you're like, now I don't do it myself, but I know a lot of people that do. Like the positive affirmations in the morning. If you say good things about yourself, you'll have a better day.
Oh yeah.
There is science behind, psychology behind it, because it's still the same thing. It's still science, but
There, to actually expand on that quickly, uh, there is a there is a sort of theory in psychology that states that if you say, "Oh, I'm doing good," you're not going to feel as good as you're not going to feel as good as if you'd sort of played it up and said, "I'm doing great. I'm doing perfect." Even if you don't actually believe that you're doing as well as that, just saying that you're doing just a little bit better than you actually feel will make you feel just a little bit better.
so what you're saying is over exaggerate your self worth essentially when you're
Yeah,
talking to yourself, not when you're talking to other people. Never
yeah. When you're sort of when somebody asks you how you're doing, rather than saying just fine, good, okay, say words like great, amazing, fantastic.
Yeah, because words do have a big play in essentially everything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, how would you feel if someone turned up to like one of your streams or some of your music or something like that and was like, "Oh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen or heard." It's gonna play on you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know it's actually pretty pertinent to the whole streaming thing. I've stopped. I used to look at the numbers. Used to look at how many people were watching me, and I had to stop that because it was one of the reasons that I started. Well, I started to slow down on the streaming and completely stop at one point because I was looking at the numbers and thinking, well, nobody's interested in me. Nobody wants to come and see me. But it's a horrible headspace because even if nobody's there, why should that matter?
Yeah,
If nobody's there and you're doing this thing, you're doing something like streaming, well, you then have to ask yourself, why were you streaming in the first place?
yeah,
If you were streaming because you felt like you had something you wanted to share, then keep streaming. Don't stop just because there's nobody watching.
yeah. Now I done the exact same. I found the numbers because my numbers started to go up to a point where I was having to focus too much on them rather than actually doing the game. Now, there's like stuff that some streamers say, like interact with chat every 5 minutes for 3 minutes of gameplay. Stupid
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's like, but I want to play the game. I want to enjoy what I'm doing.
There's something to be said that you don't have to follow that advice because while yes it works from an audience retainment perspective, it doesn't work for it doesn't work for all streamers. In fact, for some people, focusing on like making sure that you've got that the chatter interaction might be a detracting factor for your content. If you're constantly looking at chat, constantly like trying to drive that engagement, then the people that came to you because you were interesting to them are going to start getting bored. And at that point, it really just becomes a game of, well, who are you more interested in keeping? A large audience or an audience of people that are interested in what you're doing?
Which I see a lot of these new streamers, they're more interested in the former, the large audience. They want that large audience. They want to get affiliate. They want to get partner and all the rest of it. Because it's now seen as a viable career option when it is somewhat stupid, like 80% of Twitch streamers never make it past affiliate.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you know yourself, affiliate is not a very difficult one to do. Sometimes you got to play a numbers game. Don't get me wrong, but an average of what is it, 3 viewers now over 12
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. That's what it is. Because I mean, like I remember trying to reach it myself, and then when I eventually did reach it, I thought to myself, well, what was the main reason I did it? I was pushing for that so much, and it was genuinely that I thought, oh, this could be a way that I could make some money.
Same as
but
everyone
then,
else. Same as me.
Then, yeah, like there's no shame in admitting it. Everybody does it. Everybody who gets into streaming has that thought process. It usually stems from a perspective of, well, I know some people are making a lot of money off of it.
That's
and
one way to put it. Jeez.
Yeah. But that is the one lesson that a lot of people need to sort of get past, is if you're trying to stream to turn it into a viable career, then your best odds of reaching that point is to stop focusing on the fact that it could be a career. Is to actually focus on just what you can offer, what you are doing that sets you apart, what you are doing that you want to push. Are you wanting to establish a platform of people who are like-minded? Are you trying to push a platform of people who will agree with everything you say? Or do you want to push a platform of people who want to bring interesting conversation to you? Help you learn something new every day?
Yeah, it almost like it is essentially like the secondary school popularity contests.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Who was it that done the song? Bowling for soup. High school never ends. It's so
High
true.
school never ends, yeah.
It's so true.
It very much is.
Like, yeah. But then, like, I'm one of those, I very much believe you can be whatever you want to be as long as you put the work in.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like, if you want to change your life for the better, then you can. You just got to go out and work on it, or work for it, or whatever you need to do. Even if it comes down to, for example, like your mental health. If you need to take some time to work on that, then yeah, take some time, but actually work on it. Don't just sit there going, "Oh, I'm just going to play some games instead." No, you got to sit there and
don't just stew in it. Don't just stew in it.
Yeah, journal. There's all sorts of things that you can do. Journaling's the first one that pops in my head because it's the first one that I'm always told to do. I don't do it.
Well, from one of the things that, like I say, recently going through that breakup. Well, I mean, you know what I've been like after that. Yeah. One of the biggest things that I've turned to that's genuinely helped me, like, actually deal with it. While music has helped, it's not the biggest thing. The biggest thing has actually been writing stories. Because while I can't visit the dimensions that I want, while I can't visit the realities that I'm making up in my head, I can still write them out so that other people can see them.
Yeah, and it's another way to be able to get your emotions down on paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what you'll have to remind me on this one, mate. What is your story? What's it on? What's it about? I can't remember.
So the book that I'm writing. Well, there's two books that I'm currently writing up, but the actual storybook that I'm writing is called A World of Mirrors, and essentially follows the main character, Murdoch, through a ritual that he finds that essentially connects him to other dimensions. And from there, he basically goes exploring other dimensions and seeing some really weird stuff, some really interesting stuff, and some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, so do you think that this is essentially because of the breakup that you went through, your way of putting out that you essentially didn't want to be in the reality that you're in at the time, or
100%? Yeah, I feel like me trying to drive me like making such a huge push towards writing up this story has been something that has definitely been fueled by that sense of loss, that sense of grief that I've been experiencing. Because yeah, like I'll be honest, I've never been happy with the reality we're in. I've always wished that we could do X, Y, Z, but laws of physics say that we can't. So
laws are there to be broken, but
well, I mean, advancements in just pretty much every field of science recently, like genuinely mind blowing.
Absolutely, that's one way to put it. That is one way to put it. But yeah, sorry, I'll get sidetracked. I'm going to be trying to guide the conversation. I'm sidetracking us myself. So, where it's going into the other dimensions, like for example, you said you see some disgusting stuff, you see some scary stuff. What made you think of those as like the way forward? Were you taking, for example, inspiration from Stephen King, The Dark Tower, or something like that, or was it more from a video game like any of the plethora of Silent Hill? Or
So, funny enough, one of the biggest sort of factors, one of the sort of biggest inspirations for this whole idea of traveling to new dimensions has actually been the SCP universe. And a little bit of Control as well, because let's face it, the Control game, was it Embark? Yeah, Embark Studios' is Control. Like, they did a really good job at capturing that feeling of like a world where there's this shadow government controlled, like the SCP Foundation, and they're doing this. They're like they have this goal of protecting the world from the anomalous.
Yeah. And
yeah, that, I guess, if I was to summarize like the entire inspiration behind A World of Mirrors, it would be the word anomaly.
Absolutely, that's a very good way to put it. Your other book, that's a compendium, isn't it, of the...
Yes. Yeah. So the other one is a compendium of creatures, and after discussing with another friend, we were actually... he recommended that I do a compendium of curses as well. So, yeah.
So
that might also be... yeah, because I'm constantly coming up with these ideas of like, well, what if whenever you yawned, you could never yawn fully. You could never finish a yawn unless your mouth extended an extra inch every single time you yawned.
God, I'd punch you so much. That's the only one I had that come to my head then. All I can think of was every time I yawn around the other half, he sticks a finger in my mouth. I'm not saying I punched the other half. Oh god.
But that's the sort of like thought process. Like, if I'm making up these curses, why not compile them into some sort of compendium as well? Because the creature compendium was just spawned from, well, I've got all these ideas for different creatures that do different things. Some really strange, bizarre things. Why not also make a compendium for these curses or even phenomena? Because at this point, it doesn't just have to be curses. It could be like weird phenomena that has been found within the other dimensions of A World of Mirrors. Because there's going to be sort of a point being driven through in A World of Mirrors where the things that Murdoch comes across, like the creatures that he finds, maybe they're not native to his dimension. Maybe the reason they're there is because they found mirrors, went through them, and found his dimension eventually.
Okay, that is a good way to think about it. So with your books, are they going to end up on Kindle, Amazon, or are we going to be looking at something like Cooking with Feeling, like a Ko-fi book or something like that?
I'm thinking it really just depends on the kind of format that I'd be comfortable with, but I'm thinking I kind of want to go with the route of actually having a physical copy, because the compendium, for example, one of the big things that I want to do is make it look like it's an old leather-bound tome, essentially. But I have been thinking about putting it up like a digital version of it, or even trying to push it onto like through Kindle, for example.
Yeah. Now, it is something that I have got some experience with in the past. I did have a Kindle book out. I don't have it out anymore because I got struck down for copyright reasons. But I'll be honest, it is super easy to set up a Kindle. Like it, I would recommend starting off that way, and then moving into an actual paper bound, and then going on to the physical look that you're after. Especially if for example, it reaches the hands of I can't think of her name, Martina from Nerdforge. If it reaches her hands, she'll end up. You can just tell she'll end up doing a custom book for you. Like they are so creative over there.
Well, that's the thing. I already have an idea of like how I would want the actual book to look.
Yeah.
But I also get the feeling that the version of the version of how I'd want it to look would definitely need to be like a collector's edition kind of version of it. Because I would want it to look like, at least the Creature Compendium, I'd want it to look like, those like old atlases you used to get?
Yeah.
The, like, big ones.
Yeah.
Basically like a huge, thick book like that.
Like the A to Z of Britain that's like the size of like a lot.
Yeah.
A4 piece of the paper, A3 piece of the paper. Yeah.
Proper.
Which ones.
Like think like the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
Almost like that tattered look to it as well. Like something like that. That is the kind of approach that I want, because imagine pulling a book like that out and be like, you ever heard of come on. Can I really not think of any of my creatures' names right off the top of my head like that? You ever heard of a shockwave jumper before? And pulling out like this huge tome and pointing out this one illustration of this really bizarre little creature that supposedly has the ability to teleport using shockwaves.
Not exactly something you're going to be pulling out on the bus, though, is it now? But...
Oh no. That's why I feel like if I go for that route, it's definitely going to be like a collector's edition kind of thing for it.
Absolutely. So with your book, is it going to be released under your name? Are we going to be using your government name? Is it going to be under Glanin? You try and keep yourself essentially a bit of the anonymity. I've never been able to say the word, and I won't even try to say the word. Try and keep yourself a bit anonymous.
Anonymity.
Yeah. That's the word. Like I said, I'm not going to try and say it because I can't say it.
So, yeah, I feel like that is something that I have also been thinking about as well. And I feel like I kind of want to use a pseudonym rather than using my government name, and rather than using my online persona, i.e. Glanin. I kind of want to use maybe a pseudonym, maybe like a combination of my government name and my online persona as well. Something sort of similar like that, where kind of mash up like maybe G, like maybe even using like the initials of my government name, and then using Glanin as the actual name. Something like that maybe. But it is something that I'm still thinking about, because it's like, again, going back to that whole, do I really want to push myself out there and come off as less genuine?
Yeah.
Well, kind of, but would I really be coming off as less genuine if I was doing something, if I was to actually create a new, almost pen name, I guess, for, as an author, like there's names like J.R. Tolkien, for example.
Yeah.
People know him as Tolkien, the guy who did Lord of the Rings. Where you have like a punchy name like that. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of doing myself, because just naming it after my government name, like people might find it people might be interested in it, but like there's that association again.
Yeah, but this, there is also, for example, I know Stephen King has got his own pen name as well, because not all of his works are released under the name Stephen King.
Yeah, yeah.
So you try to keep it a bit more away from yourself again. Is it now? Every time we bring it up, you're there saying about you want to keep it genuine to yourself. Is it almost that you're not scared that it'll fail, well, like most people would be, but you're scared that it'll succeed and it'll become big?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Like, I've seen how. We all know the stories of how, like, power corrupts people or wealth corrupts people. Just corruption. We've seen the stories of corruption that people end up going through. They get this ounce of fame and it goes to their head immediately. They become a completely different person. And I guess that's what I'm afraid of happening. Not so much that I'm going to become known, but that I'm not going to be the same person, basically.
Okay, so you are essentially scared that the fame would change you. Now,
yeah.
For example, with your music, because your music is under the same name, Glanin.
Yeah.
And you use the same cat avatar for it, don't you?
I use the same logos that I do for. Logo. Yeah.
Could that also become a way for it to become essentially bigger than it is at the moment? By bringing in your whole internet persona, so the whole cat persona, similar to as we've again discussed before, like Deadmau5.
Yeah. So obviously, when you say Deadmau5, one of the first things that you could think of is the iconic helmet that he wears. But I bet you didn't know that he absolutely loves dabbling with technology. Like, you give him a piece of a piece of hardware, he's going to sit and just fiddle with it.
It does not surprise me at all. I didn't know it, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and that is the kind of thing. Like, there's things that I've learned about him that I thought, from a surface level, you'd think, he's just a musician. He's just the guy who makes music. But there's other stuff that he's done. I suppose Deadmau5 is a pretty bad example for it, because to my knowledge, he's not really got he's not wrote a book and also made music. I'm trying to think of. It'd be like take like an actor, for example, an actor who has also directed a movie, where when they direct a movie, it's a completely different persona that they're putting on.
The only one I think of is Angelina Jolie, because she directed that film Invincible.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic film.
I'm trying to think, because I know there are a few people that you know them for this. Like, they've done music. They're known for music, but they've also like made cookbooks or something. Or I guess, as weird as it is, Snoop Dogg would be a good example, but not really, because he's collectively known as Snoop Dogg everywhere he does it.
Yeah,
it's
he's
that balancing pseudonyms. Side quest, yeah, exactly.
Him and Ice Cube are just they're just doing side quests, man.
Yeah, 100%. But it's almost that sense of like there's that the pseudonyms you're using. Like, for example, I could use my government name when I write books. When I publish books, I could use my government name and be known for my books and known for my music separately. But if I were to put them together, if I were to mention in one of my books, hey, did you know I make music? And the name I use for my music is da-da-da, then people automatically link those two things together and realize, hang on a second, this is the same guy. That's the kind of thing that, like, I'm okay with happening later if, like, I get well known for music, if I get well known for my stories. Then I'd rather that people who are interested in just finding out who this guy is, who I am, are the ones that are discovering, hang on a second, he's also this guy who makes music. Or, hang on a second, he's also this guy that writes stories. And then be able to actually enjoy more of the work from a genuine sort of curiosity perspective than just a guy who stumbles, like, just like this guy who does everything. It's almost like that. Like, well, yeah, I'm doing like two different things. If I'd become well known for those two things, but it's under the same name, it sort of detracts whichever one is I'm less known for.
But again, that comes back to the being successful versus being a failure, essentially.
Yeah.
Because you want. So what you're saying is, if one of them succeeds, you don't want it to be associated straight away with what you are then considering your failure, which, in all essence, it's not.
It's not just that. It's not just like it's like if one succeeds, the other doesn't. I wouldn't want people to know. It's more that if one succeeds and the other didn't, I'd rather only the people genuinely curious about me would find out, and then potentially become curious in why it failed. Yeah. I'd rather that, because again, it's sort of that, like, if I'm well known for music, if Glanin is well known for music, and then Glanin also releases books, well, he's a guy who does music. Why is he writing books? People sort of automatically have those assumptions, like, well, why is this guy making books as well? He does music. They automatically label, like, musicians. They automatically label them as, oh, they're musician guys. They're not good at writing stories, or they're not good at cooking. They're not known for cooking. But that doesn't mean that you can't also be like a top class chef. But at the same time, let's say my music takes off, people love it, but then there's also the stories, they take off, people love it, and I'm actually known for, Glanin is known for music. This other guy is known for writing stories. If Glanin was known for writing music and for writing stories, then that automatic assumption of whichever way you found out about Glanin would sort of be this, like, wait, why is he doing the other thing? That's weird. If you know what I mean, it's sort of like your first success that people are become aware of automatically sort of put down the other success that you have.
Yeah, almost like it solidifies you as either, like, well, what you are then perceived as by Joe Public.
Yeah. It's sort of like, you might be a famous comedian, but what if you also made... who's the actor in the Spanish teacher in Community? I completely forgotten his name.
I don't know. I don't think I've actually seen Community.
Ken Jeong?
We'll go with that.
I think it's Ken Jeong. He was originally studying to be a doctor. Then he became a comedian and then an actor. But obviously people know him as this actor because obviously they see his films and they see that he's this actor guy. He's a pretty funny actor, so you think, okay, yeah, I could see him doing comedy. But again, he was studying to be a doctor. People would automatically go, nah, that's not true. Hey, nah, a comedian being a doctor? Nah, doctors aren't funny. There's that automatic assumption, like, you're putting down part of what they do, or part of what they were going to do, just because you know them as this thing.
Yeah, similar to how, for example, Jimmy Carr was very well off because of his... he was involved in oil sales before he became the Jimmy Carr, the comedian.
Yeah.
I still find that insane. Goes from selling oil to telling jokes. Absolutely great.
I mean, you could say that he greased a few palms.
Wait, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible. That's why I'm not a famous comedian. That's the exact point I'm getting at. Like Jimmy Carr, I didn't even know that he used to sell oil, but now that you've mentioned it, I think like really he did, because I could never imagine him doing something like that.
Oh yeah, he said it was the easiest job you've got. He would ring up and be like, "You got a car?" They're like, "Yes." He's like, "Well, you need oil." See, like, obviously that's his jokey way of saying it, but yeah, he was actually involved in bulk oil sales.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, people automatically, when you become known under an alias, that alias, whatever you're first known for under that alias, gets pigeonholed into a role. And I guess that's like me wanting to publish under another pseudonym aside from Glanin or my government name. Is sort of me trying to put to get away from that. I don't want any of my works to end up getting pigeonholed into, oh, this guy does this, so his music is going to be that great. He writes stories and they're actually really good, but his music, like, you'd expect the music to be better because you're automatically assuming
seen as a one-trick pony, essentially.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's essentially it. I don't want to come off as a one-trick pony, and I know, ironic coming from the guy that has all these different things going from, like, yeah, yeah. I do see the irony of me saying that.
Do you actually know?
Yeah.
This comes back to when you're saying you don't like to brag. Now,
I mean, it goes to that whole nickname, Flexington. Like, I get it. I do. Like, it's that perception of like, oh, I'm doing this, and I don't feel like it's that big of an achievement. But then that, like, you could say that's because I'm not perceiving like achievements as achievements, or I'm not putting enough value into what I'm doing to see it as an achievement. But to me, that's
not. Just say it. To me, you're not.
But that's the thing. Like, to me, that is the bar. Like, I'm just barely hitting the bar in my perspective. I could do better at that, but I'm just hitting the bar. Everyone else, like, I'm assuming that other people have already skyrocketed past that bar. They already have XYZ over that bar. I'm just barely hitting it. Why should I celebrate that? That's the kind of way that I see it. But obviously, yeah, that's my own biases coming in.
I mean, didn't you learn Python like in a week or something?
Yeah,
like that?
In about 3 hours, I learned enough in Python to be able to actually put together a database that you can scroll.
Now, I'm going to put this in perspective for anyone that's listening or watching that hasn't tried this. I've tried Python for 3 weeks and I can't get my head around it. Just at all. You're making databases after 3 hours. Come on, man.
It's like my qualifications. I view them as just like, oh, they're basic high school qualifications that most people coming from the country that I come from would have. So why are they any different to, say, something that my friends would have? But then obviously, like, you're looking at like the actual difference in the education standards and everything.
It's not just the education standards, it's how you manage to absorb the information that's around you.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess using my meta skills and actually understanding how I learn and everything, yeah, that's kind of been the one thing that I've started to actually realize, is that my approach to learning, my approach to gaining new skills, that is kind of the reason that I should celebrate what I do. But again, it goes back to that sense of like, I don't want to be a braggart. I don't want to be this guy who's full of himself.
Absolutely. But, we are our own harshest critics. There's no two ways about it.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, I'll be the first to admit, the reason I've got so many projects in music, creator's curse, man. I heavily suffer that creator's curse because I look at the music that I make. Like I said, I load up projects that I started yesterday and go, "Oh, that's horrible. Why the heck am I even entertaining this?" And then the next day,
in that case, it could be that you're just in a different headspace.
Yeah, that's literally it. Like I start a project, get to a certain point, and I'm like, oh, that's going really well. I love this. The next day, I load up the project and go, that's horrible. I'm never touching this ever again. The next day, I load it up. I'm like, oh, I love this. I know where I was going with this, and I continue again. Like, it just happens. It happens. Like, just looking at your work, being your harshest critic.
Because you're
sometimes it can give a perspective.
Just in your personal life, you're undiagnosed.
Yeah.
You should be. But
it's the irony of being undiagnosed, and possibly needing a diagnosis for, ironically, one of the most ironic things needing a diagnosis for. You know, that ADHD, needing a diagnosis to make sure I actually go and get a diagnosis. Because, you know, if I got a diagnosis, I'd be able to actually start, I don't know, getting medication to help me focus, to actually go and see about getting a diagnosis, because I'm getting distracted. Like, yeah, I know the irony of putting off getting a diagnosis because you think, it's not that important. But that's the entire reason you should be getting a diagnosis.
Now,
you're getting distracted about getting a diagnosis. Just do it.
Now, at the same time as that being a possible something to do with ADHD, there is still that stigma for men going to doctors.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I feel like in my personal circumstances, or at least from my perspective, that's less so to do with how much I view going to the doctors. It's more so one of the things that I'm heavily focused on is time. And that is probably the biggest issue, because I feel like I'm obsessed with time to the point where it's kind of unhealthy. I look at time and I think, oh, I've only got an hour left to do this thing. I might as well just not do it then, because I might as well take that time and actually put it somewhere else instead.
You've got an hour to do this, but it'll take an hour and 5 minutes. So, yeah.
It's exactly that. Like, if I can't do it within that hour, then I'll move it to another day. But then it's that whole work mindset as well. Like, I go into work mode and I'm like, I can't do stuff that like, I can't do stuff without running it by my boss. And running something like, oh, I need to go to the doctor to get a diagnosis. Running that by my boss feels like it's not within my duties, so I shouldn't be doing that. It's like a weird thing. Like, it's a personal thing. That's not a work thing. That's a personal thing. So I should be doing it in my personal time. But then, obviously, in my personal time, I'm thinking, well, actually, I'd rather just play something, write music, write stories.
Do something creative.
And it becomes that vicious cycle. Yeah. It becomes that vicious cycle of like, yeah, I really do need to go get checked. But I feel like I never have any of the time to do that, because the times that I feel like would be the best are the times where, when I'm at work, I think, oh, okay, the best time for me to get a diagnosis would actually be, or to sort out going for a diagnosis, would be when I'm at home and I have my personal time. But then in my personal time, I'm thinking, actually, it'd be better to do that in my work time, because I'm in that work state. It's not affecting my personal life. It's affecting my work life more. But it's not. It's really not. but try convincing my brain in that personal mindset and in the work mindset, it just won't happen.
Yeah, no, I think it might be worth on your next annual leave having a look into something.
Oh yeah. But that's the worst part. That just flips like, oh, I'm in work mode. Actually, no, I don't have work today. Personal mode.
Yeah,
and it goes back to that.
Your work isn't on your physical job; it's your work on yourself. Then.
Yeah. I really should view it that way. To be fair, actually, that's a good way to flip it.
Because at the end of the day,
I'm going to try
what
that.
we have to do is we do have to work on ourselves.
Oh yeah, 100%. One thing I do try and keep a focus on is like work on myself. Again, ironic coming from the guy who spent the last 10 minutes talking about not getting a diagnosis and then trying to come up with excuses as to why he's not doing it. But yeah.
But like, we all need to work on ourselves, man. Like that's the reason why I focus so much time on the gym. That is my time. Like you've got your music and your writing. I am not a creative sort. I probably am, but I just haven't found my outlet. My outlet is the gym. I will go and move a heavy circle stupid amount of times until my back's broken. Because then I can't be in any head pain because I'm already in enough physical pain.
But that is essentially what it is. Like, yeah, it's that working on yourself thing.
Yeah,
that is at the end of the day, that is the most important part. And obviously, like you pointed out there, I am the creative sort. To me, working on myself would be sharpening my brain. That came out really weird, but you get my point.
Fully, like when you're working on your book or your music or you're doing something for your stream, you've got enough outlets that way that you can essentially hone your skills for that specific purpose.
Yeah, like let's take gaming for example as an example. One of the reasons that I love gaming so much is because I love being able to actually take apart something that I'm playing.
Yeah, like
the reason I'm able to break games so easily is purely because I'm looking at how the game plays. Like physics-based games, easiest to break 9 out of 10. Why? Because you figure out how the physics engine works. And you figure out, hang on a second, this movement type here, like moving between this and that causes weird behavior. And from there, you can just apply that in different situations. Bam, you've got a glitch for getting across the map in 3 seconds.
Yeah, you should get into speed running with some of the stuff that you do.
I have done a few speed runs at this point. Mostly just Sonic Adventure, though. But I'm getting better with it.
Yeah, man, get your name in the top 100 for speedrun.com.
Yeah.
End up on GDQ, Games Done Quick. Speedrun is some of the speeds that they're moving at, I don't know how they can process the game that quickly.
It's the speedruns that get me are the ones like Factorial.
I haven't seen any speedruns on that one.
Think of like cramming like days and days and days of factory management and construction work in a factory-based game into a single day. All that information that you need, like you need to build this, that, and this in this order. And you need to make sure that you don't do this or that. Or that if you end up with a seed where the enemy are too close, re-roll it. Re-roll it and restart your speedrun.
Jeez. Because I remember seeing one, it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Yeah, 2, because it's the one that's got a hanger. And it was on IGN, it was Developers React. And even the devs are like, how the hell do you just do that? You shouldn't be able to do that. I didn't code the game to do that. Why are you doing that?
That is honestly one of my favorite ones when you point out something, when you do something in front of a developer and they're sitting there scratching their head like, what just happened? How did you, what? No, that we have bug fixes that have fixed exactly what you're doing. How did you just do that? And it's not because you're using an older version. No. You're currently in the most up-to-date version. And you just pulled off a glitch that had been patched, but you're doing it in a different way.
Because there's something else that you've done in the past, like got in contact with developers and been like, so I found this, and set up a screen capture or something like that?
Yeah, so fun enough, during one of my own streams, I was playing a viewer submitted world, basically, like a collection of levels for Baba Is You.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about that game, it is heavy on the thought process. And I was able to break it to the point where the game crashed.
I shouldn't be surprised.
And I broke it by turning everything into bees.
Oh my days.
Everything became bees, apparently including the game's process.
Just, I don't even want to. I can't even think of how you'd do that. And what that was when, I'm assuming that the person who suggested that world seed was watching your stream at that time.
They were watching the stream at the time and went, "Wait, what? How did you do that? That you shouldn't even be able to crash it the way you did. How did you do that?"
Because surely that gives you some sense of accomplishment as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Being able to break a game so much that you've confused the person who made that seed of that game.
It's I'm trying to think if there's been any other games that I've done it with, but like live reacts, or even just finding a bug way before anyone else, or a glitch way before anyone else has actually like brought it to anyone's attention, and actually getting that sense of like, did I just pull off a glitch that nobody else has done? I'm pretty sure, like, you look it up, like speed glitch in Borderlands 3, for example.
Yeah.
The speed boosting using a dash technique. I just kind of found it myself. Looked it up. Nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
And then the next time that I booted up the game, I decided to try. I remembered trying pulling the glitch off. So I thought, I wonder if anybody's actually found out how to refine that glitch yet. Next thing I find out, Joel's dude. He's already talked about it. In fact, he's actually got an in-depth guide on how you can pull it off and make it consistent.
So when you're doing these sorts of glitches and stuff like that, how come you're not like recording it and putting it out there? Because essentially, especially with a game like Borderlands, it's a large franchise. It's not exactly not going to get views. If you're like day one of a glitch, you're going to get a lot of views on it.
So the main reason I'm not recording, more to do with the fact that the only time I really pull up the OBS, for example, is purely because I'm about to stream. I do have NVIDIA's replay function, but a lot of the time, like, it's just issues with it. Like,
it's terrible.
Pressing the record button. Yeah, like the number of times that I thought, oh, I need to save that. That was a really funny thing that just happened. Or, how did that glitch just happen? I want to save a replay of that and actually go back to it.
Yeah.
Then I find out the replay function had been turned off.
Yeah.
No indication as to when it happened. All I know is I went to press the button and I'm being told, you need to have it on to record.
Because it's for someone like you who does quite commonly manage to break games, not just physics games, but quite a few of them in wonderful ways. There's no two ways about it. Some of the ways you break them is absolutely fantastic. It would be worth even if you're just having a little casual game, just booting up OBS, stick it on record, and leave it in the background. Now, I understand though, on the flip side of that, there's a storage.
Yeah,
because that's a lot of video.
So that is one of the things that even when I was actually getting into streaming, one of the biggest things that I was worried about was if I'm going to save my VODs and chop them up, maybe put them on YouTube or something, I'll kind of need them to be stored somewhere that isn't just going to fill up all of my drives. And the first thought was, why don't I get an external hard drive? So I did.
Yeah.
But then I realized, well, if I'm going to keep these archives, I'm going to need to keep getting new external hard drives, and that's going to be pretty expensive after a time.
Yeah, what you need is like a NAS.
Yeah.
But even those, they fill up just as quick.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're in a small time streaming or something like that, is it going to provide that much value to your viewers as such, or is it more just to bring people onto your stream?
So that's the other thing. Like, if I'm keeping all the recordings, am I doing it because I want to be able to show new people what has happened, or am I doing it because it's potentially useful for like marketing stuff? Do I want to like put it on YouTube, make funny clips out of it? Is it gonna? There we go.
Yeah, you've been staring into my soul for the last 5 minutes, man.
Yeah. That just happens. Like even just moments like that where the tracking just gets lost, and it's during like a cutscene in the game, and you just see me going.
Yeah.
I'm trying to deliberately lose tracking now. There you go. Just something like that. Like, yeah, those make funny clips. But obviously, actually being the streamer, looking at chat, looking at the game, playing the game, I'm not always going to pick up when that happens. So it's useful to have the recorded stream to look for those kind of clips.
So do you think that if you're like a new streamer, rather than, because obviously when you're a new streamer, there's a lot on your mental when you're doing it, because you've got all the stresses of essentially staring at the view account. Now, one of the things we have already discussed is turning off the view account. That is the number one tip. Turn off the view account. But then obviously you've got the trap of essentially staring at chat, waiting for the next chatter to message, and so you can keep a chat rolling with someone that's not there.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, what I do is I talk to myself. I love it. I'll just talk to myself all day long.
So I have taken to doing that myself, and I quickly realized that when I do that, I'm not being myself. So then I get into this dilemma of like, do I continue to do that? Because like, yeah, I do kind of talk to myself, but I don't do it out loud. I talk to myself in my head. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Like, to use the whole game, to use the whole like glitch hunting thing as an example. If I'm finding a glitch and I'm thinking, oh, that's a funny interaction. I could be saying out loud, oh, that's not meant to happen. Or that's a curious behavior. This could lead towards this. But obviously, I don't say that out loud. That's the part that I'm saying in my head, and nobody's really going to hear it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, I find myself going quite quiet during my streams, which, yeah.
So again, it comes back to you wanting to be as genuine as genuine to yourself as you can, essentially.
Yeah.
But at the same time, showing your personality, especially if, for example, a new person comes by your stream, like, you know what I'm trying to say. I can't put it in words.
It's that double-edged sword. Like, while yes, my personality is like quiet, reserved guy. Obviously, that doesn't make the most entertaining thing, and a lot of the time, people will tune out if you're just always silent. So I do try to sort of get that. I do try to sort of try and drive that interaction, but without obviously trying to force it. And then it just becomes that game of, well, how do you drive an interaction without it coming off as being like a forced thing, but still being something that feels like you're a person, essentially, not just an automatic response system.
Yeah. Because a lot of it is you don't want to be seen as someone with essentially no personality. You don't want to be seen as that. You want to be seen as someone who's got personality to keep driving the engagement, to keep driving the followers and everything else in regards to streaming. Now, in regards to music and your book, you can be that quiet, reserved guy, essentially.
Yeah.
Or is it a different sort of scape that you got to be in for that one? Or
so I find that with music production, whenever I'm actually streaming like music production, for example, it's a lot more lenient towards like, oh, he's quiet. Why is he quiet? He's quiet because he's focusing on the music that he's making. He's trying to listen to this part of the music to try and get that feeling out of it. So there is that sort of not excuse. Excuse would be the like sort of the dirty word to use here, but sort of that pardon almost.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, it's understandable why he's not talking so much. We've got something else to listen to. It's that dead air. That's what it is. Trying to fill dead air. Feeling obligated to fill that dead air with something. And obviously with music or in the case of even writing, which not many people do stream writing streams, but it does happen. It does happen. And typically, from my experience, you are looking at people who are pretty quiet during them. And that sort of sets the atmosphere. The interaction is that you're reading what the person's writing. You're reading as they're writing it.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a cozy stream sort of thing rather than your standard chaotic stream that you would normally be doing.
Yeah. Like a gaming stream, for example, you'd expect chaos. You'd expect that almost. Yeah, because you'd be expecting. You'd be expecting that sort of interaction of like you mentioned something like, oh, by the way, did you know you can fly off the tower if you do this button combination? And then obviously, like chat viewer, the viewer says something like that in chat. Streamer sees that and goes, huh, I didn't know that. I'll give it a shot. Gives it a shot, and then obviously cue hilarious reaction because wait a minute, didn't realize it was going to make your body freak out like that.
Yeah. Just going back to your book quickly, I've literally just had this thought whilst we're sat here chatting. Obviously, you've got this idea for the collector's edition to be this old-timey, leather-bound tome.
Yeah.
Have you considered a Kickstarter? Once the
I
book's
have
setting up a Kickstarter.
But yeah, that's the kind of approach that I'd be thinking of. Like, obviously, writing the stories is one thing. Producing them as books is a completely different thing. And I want to get to the point where I feel comfortable enough that I could publish a book with what I've got.
Yeah.
Before entertaining the idea of actually trying to sort out, like, obviously, where it's being distributed. Obviously, like collector's editions versions of it, things like that. But yeah, that is something that I have been genuinely thinking about when it comes to setting up the actual books themselves.
Yeah,
is maybe looking into something like a Kickstarter.
Because it would be good to have you back on when you've finished your book, especially, just to see how things are progressing.
Yeah.
Let's see if you finally got that fucking diagnosis. But well, you know, we're only thinking best for you. We're only thinking of the best.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like me getting the diagnosis would be like It would be very helpful, because cannot say it enough, mental health is an extremely important thing for everybody.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, if you don't even know why you feel the way you feel, how are you going to help yourself to stop feeling the bad parts of that feeling?
Yeah, sometimes it's even coming down to accepting the way that you feel. So,
yeah,
one thing I've been hearing a lot about. So there's it's a couple. One of them, she's a singer. What's her name? Rory, something like that. She was at Download, but she's got ADHD. Her partner's recently been diagnosed as autistic. An older diagnosis as well.
Yeah.
And so they're essentially documenting how he's getting on since finding out. And he's been, one of the things that he's brought up is that it's gotten worse for him. Like, his autism's gotten worse. It brought up a very good thing, a very good talking point as well. Because obviously, we all suspect you have ADHD.
Yeah.
What they were talking about is that a lot of neurodivergent, so ADHD, AUHD, autism, the whole spectrum, when they get diagnosed, they essentially regress into their symptoms. So things get worse before they get better.
So this is where me studying social sciences, I feel like this is where me having this understanding would actually help me avoid falling into that pitfall myself. Understanding what's it called again? The self-fulfilling prophecy. Understanding what a self-fulfilling prophecy is, and how you can actually end up putting yourself into this position of actually becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, would be essentially to rein in that sense of like, well, I've been given this diagnosis, so that means I behave like this. You essentially excuse your own behaviors towards acting in that way, or you try to amplify what you think you should be acting like, so that you fit that role a bit better.
Yeah,
and that is the main issue when it comes to getting a diagnosis. A lot of people do end up viewing it as almost like a passport to say, oh, well, I've been diagnosed with this, so I have to act this way.
Yeah, I also think a lot of it comes down to masking. So a lot of neurodivergents, they will mask. Now, when you get the diagnosis, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, some of them will see it as, well, I've got this diagnosis, I don't need to be masking constantly. I now know how I am essentially programmed to think, and the meds will work. So what you're getting then is, rather than, like, for example, an autistic person, autism seen as quite rude people. When it's not, you just got to be direct with them. They're not rude, they just be direct and it's fine.
Yeah.
But because they won't be masking to make other people feel better and essentially mentally exhausting themselves, they'll be coming across as very rude all of a sudden, and people will see that as a personality change and be like, well, you're just really rude all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because masking is one of those unique things that I do find quite interesting. Do you find that at any times you're trying to essentially, act away so that people will accept you?
So, funny enough, not so much out of acceptance, but I had this exact train of thought when I was younger. I want to say like 7, 8. I came to the realization that when I was at school and when I was at home, I'm two different people. I had no idea what I was talking about at the time, and later I discovered that I found out about masking just by theory crafting it as an 8-year-old.
That's insane. That is actually insane. For an 80-year-old to be able to come to that sort of conclusion.
It's that self-awareness. Like, I wanted to understand why I wasn't acting the same way I was at school as the way I was acting at home. Because I noticed, like, looking back at it, it's probably just because I wasn't comfortable. Yeah. And again, that leads into the whole idea of, yeah, I probably had something undiagnosed since then that I became aware of purely because I noticed a strange pattern.
It's a very good thing to think about, especially considering like the possibilities of what it could be, because at the end of the day, we're not medical professionals. Everyone that me and you talk to about it, we haven't spoken to a professional. We just take best guesses and assumptions.
Yeah.
Like I would go more towards the AUHD or AUAHD or ADHD with autism. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's AUHD.
Yeah, I'll go more that way because of like some of the autism traits that you've got, some of the ADHD traits that you've got. Now, it's one of those. Like I don't even know if they've got medication for it, but it's all about seeking the help that you want.
Yeah.
Just going back to, so you've been saying about like the breakup that you went through. Was there anything else that you used to help cope with that, or was it just essentially the music, the friends, and the writing that got you through that? Because like a breakup has actually been shown to have the same mental effects as losing a parent grief-wise.
I mean, yeah. Like, I used myself as a case study for it, and I realized, like, I was experiencing grief, and it was a type of grief that the only other time that I can explain, that I could really think of that came close to me experiencing that same level of grief was when we lost family pets. Yeah. I have been fortunate in that I haven't actually lost any family members in my life. But I do know enough about how I process my emotions to know that the kind of grief that I was feeling there was not something I have experienced that much of.
Yeah, it's always a rough one.
Yeah, like understanding that and dealing with it, two different things completely. But I feel like understanding it did help me sort of steer how I treated it in a different direction. Yeah. And yeah, I think that was it really. I didn't feel the need to turn to anything that I wouldn't normally go to deal with it. So yeah, just friends, writing, music, and family. Just sticking my head down.
Because that shows you've got the support group, the support structure around you to be able to go through stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And essentially not spiral, because that's what can happen a lot of the times. This is why, like, I'm going to be bringing up about Andy's Man Club, like in the UK.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
It's something that I do charity work for to try and raise some money for them. Yeah, they're just a great group. It's in free peer-to-peer support group for men.
Yeah,
we don't get the support that we need, so why not build the support? Yeah, that's my own a little plug for them, because they deserve it out of everything.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The work they do.
Because I feel like like that experience that I was going through, just being able to actually recognize that I could spiral was one of the first things that I had to establish. And I noticed like I felt like I was starting to spiral, in all honesty. But I feel like because I was recognizing those symptoms, I was pushing myself towards actually using my support network. And that, honestly, like, the most important thing I could have done to help myself get over it.
Absolutely. I would always say that you got to have a good network there. And if you,
Yeah.
Christ, in the in the Live for Life, they done a like 2 interviews with people, and it was just little quick ones. And there was one for a bloke who was the owner of a gym. He had his whole gym doing it. I think his gym came second in gym totals. The other person was me. Just saying. So at one point in the Live for Life, they're like, "Would you mind jumping on for a quick interview?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sound, why not?" One of the things they asked me was, "Well, what would you have to say to somebody if you believe they need to go to Andy's Man Club, but they're not at the point where they are willing to go?" And I've heard it once before, but it just came straight to my head, and I was like, "Look, there's going to be people out there that would rather hear your story than carry your casket. Like, reach out."
Yeah.
Such a strong statement.
I think that was Robin Williams, wasn't it?
I think it might have been. I know I've heard it from somewhere else, but at the time I couldn't really think because, you know, I was a bit broken. But
yeah.
Speaking of which, I have got another Live for Life coming up at some point. We're in talks. In talks. Yeah. Me and Mark are in talks. We'll see what happens. But man, I'm going to be honest. We're going to probably be cutting it now because I am getting to the point where I've just seen the time.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself.
Yeah. But it has been good to have you on, man.
Aye, no worries. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're going to probably get you back on in the future, especially seeing as... Because I want to see how you get on with all the progress. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be pushing for you to get this diagnosis personally. You're going to be getting your book sorted. You're going to be getting your music sorted. You can still got your streaming. There's so much going on in your life that it's never going to not be interesting to talk to you on long form content like this.
Mate, I like there's something that I forgot to even mention. I'm working on music for a game for Reef.
Jeez, that's the thing that I'm not going. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm saying. But that's insane. Like the fact that you're now working on that as well.
Yeah, like
it just shows the talent that you've already got. You've now got people recognizing you to the point where they're like, "We will bring you on as music." Essentially, you're going to be what composer or music developer or something like that.
Yeah, basically the music production for the game.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I was actually reached out to and asked with sincerity, "Hey, would you work on this for us?" Like that was one of the things that immediately that day cemented how far I've actually gone with my music. Like to the point where people are actually reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, could you do something for me?"
Man, that's absolutely fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Because I know I did reach out to you for the music for the beginning of this podcast that we're going to be playing in the actual videos, in the actual podcast or Spotify. So that snippet you lot are hearing at the beginning, that's our boy Glanin. Like, this is what I mean, though. You've got a talent, and if you're not going to exploit it, we'll exploit it. Oh man, I'm so happy for you. Like the fact that other people is actually being able to appreciate what you can do.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Because before that, the biggest point that I could look back at and think, man, I've made progress, like visible progress, was looking back at just going back to the music that I started making when I first started making music.
Yeah. And I'm assuming looking at it from that point to where you are now.
Yeah, like thinking back on like, I didn't know what sidechaining was. I didn't know how to master properly. I didn't know that like if you composed using these elements, you could get this feeling, or if you deliberately took out this, you'd get that feeling.
Mate.
And now I do.
Like, this is what I mean. The progress that you're going to make over even the next year. 2027 is going to be such a different year for you than 2026 will be.
Yeah, it really will, because obviously, like the breakup, for example, it still hits me, because obviously there's still things that remind me like of the things that I could have had but didn't.
Absolutely.
But then I'm also looking to the future and thinking, well, in a year's time, am I going to be feeling the same way? If I am, how am I dealing with it?
Exactly, and that's going to be something that is going to be great to pull back on. Because if like, I've been in the position myself where you fall in love with someone and either you leave them or they leave you, and you're still thinking about them a couple of years later. It is rough.
Yeah.
But life moves on. And you're going to be in such a better place, not just mentally, but physically. Like, maybe not your physical body, but like,
yeah, I mean, the mental side can actually affect the physical side as well, and vice versa.
100%.
So
100%. There's a reason why a lot of the obese people are diagnosed with depression and things along those sides, because you eat to essentially fill your emotions, and it all comes down to that dopamine and serotonin release that you get. Like, a lot of there's a reason why eating chocolate when you're sad is a very good thing, because it releases a lot of dopamine into your brain. Like, it's a part and parcel of essentially depression.
Yeah.
And then you get people like me who just eat everything because we can. Just hide it behind the guise of the sport. But yeah, right. I'm going to call it, brother. I hope you have a good one. We'll definitely be catching up.
You too, dude.
I'll drop you a link of this one as soon as I've uploaded it as well, bruv.
Cheers for that.
Right, sound. Have a good one, man.
Have a lovely night, Doss.